All right, so one of the main reasons why I started using ChatGPT for making my videos is because I just don't have the energy or drive or motivation or desire to write these things the way that I used to do them for my own thoughts and my own way of seeing things. I had to get cheap because low input equals low output. YouTube doesn't pay me enough for me to produce high output. And it's a great analogy for our entire society. On my way home today, I was walking through the Kroger's looking for something that I could actually afford to buy. And I was looking at something and it was 10.99, and I'm thinking, how are you selling mac and cheese for 10.99 with a Panera brand on it? I wanted to record it, but at the same time I thought to myself, this isn't worth it. And while I was sitting there getting ready with my phone, pointing my phone at it, I heard my name called out from behind me. It's a guy that I used to work with back in 2008 when I was working at that same Kroger's that I was walking through. And he says, "Hey, MillennialSteam, how's it going?" And I'm like, well, another day in the salt mines. That's all life really is for the proletariat. And he's like, "Hey, man, they cut my hours to like 15 this week." And this is a guy that somehow has a mortgage, can't drive, but his wife does pretty well. But at the same time, you get what you pay for. Low input, low output. His wife's never been what I would consider an attractive woman, but she pays his bills. So when he gets a week like this at Kroger's, it doesn't faze him other than he's a grown man who's been working in Kroger's since 2008. And he's going to be working at Kroger's probably for the rest of his life. He's never getting out of it. And when you put this many years into just a crummy job that won't promote him, he's still a cashier. After all this time, he's still in the same exact position. But I don't blame him because no one's noticing this, but it's very evident that when you're paying your workers practically nothing, they show up at work and give you practically nothing. And that's what I've seen from almost all the workers that are still there. And this is going to segue us into what my main talking point is. I got I got home and my Amazon app said that my little fish container was in my mailbox, but it wasn't because it said the delivery attempt was made, but no delivery attempt was actually made. I was sitting there, or excuse me, standing there looking at the post office worker, and she kept saying to me, "Oh, you can't touch the mailboxes when they're open. Let me see some ID." And then I showed her on my phone. It says you tried to deliver my package, but she never tried to deliver my package. When I questioned her about why the laziness, she said, "It's in the truck." I'm looking at the truck that's 10 feet away, and she's looking at me like, "I'm not going to do that. I'm going to sit here and I'm going to shove all these stupid coupons into all these mailboxes that no one is ever going to look at. I don't even know why the post office still exists. Sorry, Blue. But when all you do is deliver crap to people's mailboxes that they don't want, what are you really doing with your life?" Because she didn't care. It didn't matter to her that she never made an attempt to deliver my package. And that's what I'm talking about right now. Low input, low output. We become a society that has chosen to look the other way. When people are struggling to buy food in this world, and then you want to blame the workers for not showing up at work and even bothering. Like all she had to do was walk 10 feet to her effing truck, get my damn package out, and she wouldn't do it. She just looked at me like I was the stupid one. And we're seeing this more and more in retail, in any customer service, any public facing job these days. People look at you like, what do you care? What do you want from me? I don't make enough money to live off. Therefore, I don't give any F's about this job. And I've seen it for years. And I'm just simply tired of it. Corporations don't care because, as I read, this is what it wrote for me. Corporate America keeps asking why the quality of work is failing, like it's some great mystery. Bro, you pay people crumbs, threaten their hours, and treat them like replaceable cogs. What did you think was going to happen? When your entire paycheck can't cover your rent, what do you think workers are thinking about when they're at work? They're not thinking about work. They're thinking about how hungry they are. They're thinking about their next job. They're thinking about everything but where they are. Most people will tune out the hell out of every single job that they have. And there's one reason for that. They're not engaged because they're hungry. They're not engaged because they can't pay their rent. They're not engaged because this isn't a career. It's a job. And jobs lead nowhere. When there's no place to go, what do? Today, I was coming back to work after taking a small break, and I got a call from someone who said, "Hey, MillennialSteam, I need your help right now." And I thought to myself, well, all right. And I got over, parked my car, ran over to help her, and then she starts giving me the small talk, right? The small talk you have with the person that you need, but you don't really like. And so while we're talking, she asked me if I'd gotten the latest iPhone, and I said to her, no. It was small talk, right? We weren't really, no big topics here. And then I asked her what she was planning on doing for Thanksgiving, and she said she's planning on flying back east to visit her parents for a week. And she asked me what I was going to do, and I said what I do every single year, every holiday of every year since I've been an adult at my parents' house. The same thing every year for my entire life. Holidays are just an extra day to be drunk all day and to be miserable. That's all holidays are. For us pathetic, single, angry people, holidays have no meaning. They're just a day in which you realize that you have even less than you actually thought you had. That's what life's all about. And so when I was asking ChatGPT a little bit about this, it said something to the effect of this. And here's the funniest part. Companies know that their workers are tuned out. They budget for it. They'd rather have 10 people who don't give any F's about the bare minimum than having workers that are well paid. Because workers that are well paid want things. They want benefits. They want flexible schedules. They want real raises. Giving someone 30 cents an hour raise every year is just ensuring that you have the most disgruntled, toxic, disturbed employees that you can imagine. And that's what I saw today when I told this person, another McDonald's worker today, that I don't make enough money to be able to go do anything on holidays. She said, neither do I, but luckily my husband makes good money. And I was just like, that's the problem in America. You need someone else to support you when you can't support yourself. And guess what? Those people don't like you. You're not part of their class. You're not part of their world. In most instances, we don't even go around people that are out of our wage bracket. We spend most of our lives around the people that are just as poor and pathetic as we are. Therefore, that's why you can't improve. Why would you get together with someone who doesn't have a job, doesn't have a career, and most of all, isn't going to make your life better? That's the problem with people and relationships at this point in our society, is that the relationship isn't worth it. Unless you have at least this much, and this is on both ends, unless you meet the criteria of at least being this much, you're not going to meet anyone. You're going to stay lifelong single, like me. There would be no advantages to you to hanging out with a person like me. Not only am I pessimistic, angry, and financially insecure, what would you get out of that? Especially if you weren't a high wage earner. Nothing. So instead of connecting with people that are like you, you don't. And then you spend your entire life single and you ask yourself, why am I not meeting anyone? because you're meeting people who are like you, and they don't like you any more than you like them. And that's become something that's fundamental to our society. We've rejected role relationships to a great extent. No one likes pros. Pros don't like being pros. And management definitely doesn't like people who don't want to show up at work and pretend that they're not poor. And that's the biggest scam. You have to show up at work and pretend that you're not poor when you know full well you're definitely poor. Every time you look in your bank account, it's another reaction of that scared, not knowing what to do face. It's the face that you have right before you crash into a tree where you're not exactly certain what's going to happen, but it's definitely going to hurt. And that's what opening your wallet or looking at your banking apps feels like. It's a crash. It's a crash to your feelings, emotions, your thoughts. This is why we can't sleep at night. This is why we wake up scared and we go to bed scared. Because as I always say, if you're scared about this economy, you're not nearly scared enough. Because I guarantee you, like ChatGPT said today, let's see. Okay, so I was working on this community post today because I asked it this simple question. Why didn't anyone ever believe me when I said, you will own nothing and be happy? And ChatGPT wrote, you'll own nothing and be miserable. More Americans are starting to realize what we've been saying for years. It isn't a conspiracy, it's a business model. The future isn't freedom, it's a subscription. And that's so true. People didn't want to believe me when I kept saying this in all of my videos. You will own nothing. And as I was talking to ChatGPT on my way out of the office today, I said it really started simple. I remember that when it started, we started noticing that corporations were getting a little bit more evil than normal. They didn't want to sell you a video game on a cartridge anymore. They wanted you to digitally own it, meaning that they could take it away at any moment. And that's exactly what we have. You don't own your house. You don't own your car. You don't even own your own life. You own nothing. And that's the way that they really wanted things to be. Because it says the profit of poverty warned everyone. It's not about convenience. It's about conditioning you to accept that you will own nothing. When someone can come on TV and say, oh, we're interested in a 50-year mortgage. A 50-year mortgage? What the hell is that? That's just an apartment with a backyard. That's what that is. The bank will always hold everything that you own. You have to keep paying in. Let's say you pay in for 29 years and suddenly you lose your job. And you can't make that last year of payments because you lost your job. Guess what? 29 years of your life have just been erased. And if you can get it in 7 years after you file for bankruptcy, you can start another 50-year mortgage or 30-year mortgage or however many mortgages. I don't understand if the government doesn't understand that pros aren't going to live that long, or if it's intentional cruelty at this point. Because intentional cruelty is like intentional stupidity. It does take some amount of effort to be intentionally stupid about what's happening in the world right now. Because you truly have to buy in to these talking points that are being sold to us like facts, when we can see the realities that a 50-year mortgage doesn't serve anyone. Just like having a life that's based on everything that you need being behind a paywall. You only have access to the lowest of low resources in life, and you're getting tired of it. You're getting tired of people that look at you like, what do you want? That's what customer service has become. I remember being that disgruntled working customer service when someone would walk up to me and you were fed up. You were hungry, you were depressed, and your manager treats you like something he found on the bottom of his shoe. And a customer has the audacity to walk up to you like you have some sort of good job, right? They're like, hey, can I get some help? And I'm like, what do you want? And they just look at you like, well, maybe I should go talk to that person over there because they look like they're actually enjoying work. And I assure you, they're not enjoying work. They're puckering their rear while you're asking them where the milk is while you can see the milk. That's how bad it is working in retail. Your rear end puckers up every time someone walks up to you because you don't know if you're going to be able to hold it together, if you're going to be able to smile through it, or if you're just going to look at them like, leave me the hell alone. And I've seen people like that everywhere, working in restaurants, working anywhere where you have to talk to a person and artificially be nice to them. People are running out of the energy to be nice. And it wasn't all at once. This has been building for a long time. Once you see your future as a permanent minimum wage piece of crap, you carry it around. Why do you think Fleece is such a popular character in all of my videos? Because as much as you pucker up that rear end, Fleece knows what he likes. And the more you pucker up, believe me, it's a happy day for Fleece. Anyhow, I didn't have structure to this video because I wasn't sure if I was going to make one. I pretty disgruntled after work today because of all the stupid things that happen at work. And you're just kind of left scratching your head like, I'm going to have to do this all over again tomorrow and for the rest of my life. And that doesn't feel very good, people. And with that said, things that don't feel good seem to be the things that we've normalized. Because not feeling good about anything is just the way that we function as a society.